Okay, so we're doing a kind of special one here. I've had this guitar in my possession now with another one for way too long, and they are not mine. I really need to get them back to their owner. So this is the Gene Simmons guitar. It came, and here's the thing: the request was just make it better. That's all they wanted. They just said, just make it better, please. It's so awful. Make it better. The neck was really twisty, like very flimsy. I mean, very, very flimsy. The strum switch felt like a piece of plastic and all, and the buttons were kind of just mush. And the whammy bar had a huge chunk taken out of the tip. So, what I had done was what you're going to see in a sec. I had cut the pads for the frets. I put new strum switches, as well as there's like a signature thing I do on third-party guitars because they have hollow strum switches, whereas Guitar Hero guitars have a metal bar in them. With these ones, I fill them with epoxy. I don't know what it really does besides just add weight to it, but it makes it feel a lot better. So I've been doing it for a few years now, actually probably like 5 or 6 years now. But any third-party guitar that doesn't have a bar through it and it's just like a full piece of plastic with little tabs on either side, I will fill it with epoxy. Sometimes I'll put weights in it if that's not enough. But this one, as you'll see, I just put a little bit of epoxy in it, and that seemed to work well. I replaced the whammy, you can see there, and I cleaned the thing up pretty well. Oh, also there's a piece of foam behind the frets up here because the plastic on this thing, it is super brittle. Just by taking screws out with my gun that has like no torque to it, I purposely put it on super low torque on my clutch, and it was just snapping plastic. Putting screws back in, we're snapping plastic. So then I even switched to my hand, like the screwdriver. The plastic is very brittle, so I had to kind of work around that. Now, I also did one thing to go back to the first complaint. The neck. Very flimsy. It would bend, it would twist, it would bend, and it would twist. I mean, it kind of twists, but I'm more or less exaggerating because my wrist isn't holding really tight. But I'll do it this way, I guess. And it would twist. Like, literally, like, it would twist it. The more I go down here, it would do worse. But it would twist really bad. So what you're going to see here is 3 screws. Now that, you'll just have to watch for. Alright, so we're going to be doing this live DVD commentary thing that I like to do, and I haven't done in a long time. But basically, if you're new here, or it's been a while as well, I like to do this thing where for my videos that aren't like full-blown tutorials and don't require like a script or any very specific speaking points, I like to just edit the video together, throw all the clips and whatever into my timeline, and then I just press play, I watch the whole thing, and I talk over it, just like you would a DVD commentary from back in the day. We'll talk about the guitar, of course, and we can talk about other things, though, like the fact that it's been a while, and even though I've gotten a couple other videos out, I'm happy that I'm in, like, a nice flow of getting videos done. Oh, excuse me. I'll leave that in. I don't really care. This is my 3rd time recording this, and I am limited on time. So, yeah, I have been banking a lot of videos. Like, I've been doing, recording basically anything I've been doing. Besides this little DJ Hero deck that I built with the mechanical switches, I didn't really record that. But everything else, I've been pretty good about recording most everything that I can and getting videos done. It's just the whole editing process, when... I've said this before, but I'll say it again just to reiterate. I'm a single dad who my 2 boys live with me. I have a full-time job as an electrician at like an automation shop, so I build automation machines, as well as I'm the only person that does all of the things that you see here. Besides maybe my oldest helping me with a few things here and there, I record, I do all the work, I do all the conceptualization, like I do it literally at all, and the editing. And the voiceovers, like it's all just one person doing it. So of course, when I do like 15 videos in a row, I'm recording all of those and I'm banking them, but I'm not able to edit them in like a quick succession, especially some if they're tutorials. I really want to hit home those extra points. I want to get those zooms in. I want to make sure I have like a little bit of a script going, like for some nice bubble points where I can go like, this is what we're going to talk about at this. You know, in DaVinci they have this cool thing where I can color code all my clips. So I'll have like my notepad like, hey, these color clips mean this. It's nice, but that takes time, obviously. So a build like this one, where I literally I had my two buddies over, they were playing Clone Hero, and I just put this guitar up on my workbench, I put the camera above me, I turned the light on, and I pressed record, and I think the video total was like an hour 48 when I turned it off, which, hey, just under 2 hours for everything, not too bad, you know. So yeah, talking a little bit about it, as you see here, you know, I'm well into it now, but I'm building this little, you know, strip of aluminum that's going to be the brace for the back of the guitar. I originally wanted to do on the side of the fretboard, I wanted to do two little strips that go on the, like, in the front of the body and on the side of the fretboard. But when I opened it up and I saw that it was very thin, or more that the fretboard is very large in width, and there's narrow sides, it wasn't going to be feasible, because by the time that I would have put a piece of aluminum there, it would be so thin that it kind of negates the whole bracing part of it all. So I figured, even though the guitar is brittle, and even though the guitar, the screws aren't the greatest, what I would do is I would brace the back of the guitar, and then when I sandwich everything together and it's all nice and tight, it would really benefit. And, you know, the end result, it did. It was a night and day difference between having nothing in the back and then having the 3 screws and the nice aluminum bar. I also use this stuff called Loctite, you'll see. Loctite is basically just liquid plastic, and there's different forms of it. One dries kind of hard, one dries fully hard, and then the other one dries like in a different manner where it's more like super glue. So yeah, I used the strong stuff. It's good, basically liquid plastic. It's great. What you want is you tighten it all up, and then it will just basically make those screws stay forever. Because I'm using flatheads and I'm countersinking the holes to make them flush, I can't use lock washers or any type of washer. And because of that fact, I figured over time, with just movement and the creaking of the guitar, those screws would come out. So a little bit of Loctite really went a long way on that one. You know, why not? Other things that I did, we'll get to it, but you know, I did the strum switches. I replaced the whammy bar because it was all mangled up. I slit the silicone on the fretboards, like all 10 of the individual pieces. I slit those so it just, you know, presses down a little bit easier. And I just did like a nice cleanup of the whole thing. It's not too crazy of a build. Normally most of my builds are like 4 or 5 hours, unless it's just a simple like Arduino swap over. I think the Warriors of Rock Arduino, or really Raspberry Pi guitar, I think took me like 4 hours total, which, not too bad. A lot of that is even though I'm working on it, it's the conceptualization, the thinking about it, the how am I going to do this, how am I going to do that. See, a lot of the times I don't build guitars that are like assembly line based, you know. I could sit here and I could just take a microcontroller, take 2 switches, take, like for the strum, take 5 switches for the button, the frets, and I could just put it all together and just sit there and assemble guitars. But there's no fun in that. I'm a custom automation machine builder, so it lends into my whole work of making custom guitars. So each one is going to be something a little bit different than the last. Like doing those USB-C mods, they're a lot of fun, but each guitar has its challenges. There's obviously a whole bunch of stuff inside of these bodies that I have to watch out for, you know. So it's a lot of fun to be able to figure out new things and to work on it all. So I'll say that doing this Gene Simmons guitar was actually a really fun challenge, because even though it wasn't a challenge in the sense of like it made me think hard or it made me really like struggle, it was just a different thing. It was never done anything like this. I was real worried that I could do anything with this. I'll be honest. I always say yes to every project. I've never once, besides the orange paint situation, I have never once been in a situation where I haven't been able to complete a project, at least for other people. Even if I've been late on stuff, it's still completed, you know. I still get this stuff done. So I take a lot of pride in that, but I will say that there was a little bit of a doubt on this one because of how thin the guitar and the neck and the body and all of it were just so thin that I was kind of concerned that I was going to be SOL on the whole working on it. I figured I'm going to take it apart, and I'm not going to like what I see on the inside. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that I'm not familiar with, or that I'm going to mess with, and then it's going to break and all that. And then I took it apart, and I'm just like, oh yeah, no, the same as every other third-party guitar, just they did it slightly different, you know. Those fret buttons are really the only difference. Is just that the pads are thinner, the plastic's thinner, the fret buttons themselves are dog shit because they're hollow, but not in the way that you think. They're hollow like fully, like the whole button itself, besides what is shown on the front of the guitar, is all hollow. So the buttons get stuck. They don't really just. The guitar is ass. It plays really well for a third-party guitar, but that's like saying that you can jump higher than anybody else because your shoelace. No, I don't even know. There's not. My brain actually went to somewhere very dark, and it was gonna quote a movie. So I'm just like, don't do that. Don't say politically incorrect stuff. And I'm just gonna move on with my life and act like I didn't do anything. So, what I'm doing here is a bit of my signature. I take every third-party strum bar that's hollow and like single, full one piece molded, where there's no metal bar and it's all like the nubs are all in one. All of them that I ever come across, I fill them with epoxy. There's something about adding a little bit of weight and some just fullness that really adds that crisp first party feel to it. Being again molded with no like hole for the steel bar, there's no bushings for a said bar, and it's very thin and hollow. It feels like a cheap Dollar Tree toy, So adding the epoxy is usually what I do for customers' guitars. It's just a quick and easy way to get it, somewhere in between a first party and third. Me personally, if it was my guitar, I would chop those nubs off. I would drill a hole where the nubs were. I would grab like official Guitar Hero strum switches because I have so many of them. I would steal the bushings off that, and then I would actually put a physical bar in there. The reason why I do this is just people who have played with third party and people who have played with first party will know the strum bar, which is crucial next to the frets, may work, but it feels so different. There's like a very distinct feel. For people who are car people, it's like all Subarus have a Subaru sound. All Mustangs have a Mustang sound. You hear that sound down the street? Oh, it's a Mustang. You hear that little whistle with that like oomph? That's a Subaru, like everybody knows. So third-party guitars have a very distinct feel and sound to their strum bars, and first-party guitars have a very distinct sound and feel to theirs. It's just how it works. So by adding the epoxy, we're going to that middle road there. And weirdly enough, I would say, I'm trying to be honest here. Normally, I would downplay this and just say, yeah, it worked pretty well. No. The epoxy I added to this strum switch made it go from a 2 to a full-blown 11. It blew it out of the water. I was so amazed when I was testing this thing out. I'm like, wow, the strum bar feels like a real strum bar. And besides the frets being real shallow, it wasn't too bad, Overall, just a really fun build. I still feel bad that it's been in my possession too long. But you know what? Besides like 2 people ever, most everybody's been really chill with me. Y'all been really cool. I so appreciate and love every single one of you. That is my video where I'm just like, hey, I'm back. I fucked up. Here's what's up. And I think like I try to be just as genuine as possible. I'm not going to ever bullshit you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to skirt the truth. I may go MIA and just try to ignore it. I'm not going to deny that. I like to ignore things, and that's not good. So I have to be better about that. But I will say that I love just being genuine and honest and saying what's up and what everything's going. And so it's cool that when I was vulnerable and put myself out there, everyone's just like, no, man, we love you. Like, we love your work. We love the videos. We love all the things that you do. You just, and some people even were like the tough love, like, hey, man, you do got to be better. Like, that's real disappointing to hear that you messed up, But the love and support I got was very beneficial. It helped me a lot. And then I get to do stuff like this. Like, years past, I wouldn't have had the motivation if I was in a bad mood and stuff. But weirdly enough, no, life's been really good. It's been really fun. I just haven't dedicated much time to doing the guitars because it's my kids in life and Six Flags didn't work. I'm addicted to Six Flags. I live by Great America, and just it's my therapy. Anytime I'm feeling down or blue, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna go get launched at 78 miles an hour in 2 seconds, or I'm gonna go on the 200-foot coaster or whatever it is. Like, I don't think anything's crazily world record breaking there, but they got some pretty unique coasters, and I love that place a lot. So I have to balance that out a little bit better. But I have been. I guess my point is I've been balancing out a little bit better where I have motivation to come out here in the evenings after work. Um, Basically, my schedule has been this. I've been doing the builds on like Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, and like each one is a different build, like a couple hours, however long each one takes, and getting the clips for that. And then I'm spending the weeknights after work editing the videos. So this one took me a little bit to edit, but not too bad here. And the guitar obviously works, so we'll get a video out of me testing it, pretty soon enough. But yeah, no, just I'm happy to be back and kind of in a full swing here. It's a slow swing, but we're moving. We got momentum going, and doing this like commentary, just on the evenings. It's 7:30 now. I can throw this clip on here. I can render it, and then it's up, and we're back to normal. Next video will most likely be the Arduino Raspberry Pi Warriors of Rock guitar. Then will be the I actually have a Sega deck battery thing that I made for a Game Gear. I want to get that one out, and then I'll get Drew's Explorer video. Then I can ship all his stuff out. So cool. Appreciate hanging out as always. If you're still here, I see the analytics. Some people actually chill and hang out, so I appreciate that. All right, peace.